up, Sagittarius gang? Welcome to my channel, Tarot by the Intuitive Teacup. That's me. We're going to read your tarot cards here today. Hope everyone is doing well. Wow, I've split the deck 3 times and I keep seeing the 10 of Cups. But then we got this going on too. We'll talk about that. Anyway, what's up, guys? I hope this video finds you well. General messages is what I do here on YouTube. So that means not everything I say will resonate with every single Sagittarius every week. Know that in advance. I hope there's lots of messages in this tarot reading that motivate, empower, inspire you. But if you're not feeling that way, if that's not the case, click off, stop, do not proceed. No, assume it's going on to someone else who needs to hear it. It won't be your message every week, unfortunately. You're accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. That's my spiel. Now let's have some fun. Let's get you some helpful, insightful messages just in the coming weeks or so. I typically do weekly messages, so took a little vacation last week. So thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for being patient. Sagittarius. We're going to do a short spread. We'll do past, present, future, what to release and what to embrace. Sagittarius. Uh-oh. Feeling abandoned by a Leo. Is that for some of you? There's confusion there. I feel like something needs to be said, but either both people are holding back on it or someone is envisioning what's going on, but there's actually no proof or substance there. So I would say, especially with Mercury about to go retrograde, don't jump to any conclusions. If you need clarity, ask for it. Be very direct about it, which usually is not a problem for you, Sag. But yeah, there's like emotional distance with a Leo for some of you, but it could be cleared up if you are just more vocal or are able to communicate with that person. So for some of you, it almost feels more spiritual. You may have a spirit guide, especially if you know one of your ancestors, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, mom, dad is a Leo. It's like they're trying to connect with you spiritually if they've passed. And it's like you're not allowing them in. I know that's a very unusual message, but for some of you, you'll know if that's you, right? All right, here we go. Cut the deck. All right, so you already got people showing up. All right, so let's see. Bottom of your deck is wish fulfillment. All right, we love that. This is good times. This is cheeriness. I recently heard one of my favorite tarot readers call this fat, dumb, and happy. Don't be offended, right? You guys can Google it that, right? Yeah. There's something that's going to make you feel very pleased or even proud of yourself. And it doesn't have to be huge, life-changing things. I mean, if it is, that's great. But sometimes it's just getting a little wish, getting something fortunate that comes your way, maybe through not a lot of effort. It just kind of lands in your lap and it's great and it's satisfying. And again, for some of you, this is something maybe you've been working towards for a very long time. It's funny, I heard goal weight, or if you're working on some sort of physical routine or physical exercise or dieting or opposite, muscle gain, something about that. It could just be like a weekly, like, oh my gosh, I finally hit my goal. Maybe your goal is just to complete that thing that's been on your to-do list forever. That's a great card. We'll tap into your actual tarot reading, though, and see if that is at all connected to your wish fulfillment. For some of you, that is connected to the whole mystery with the Leo. I don't necessarily think it's good or bad. I think it may vary for some of you, but something about the 7 of Cups coming up. 7s are all about assessment. You already have 2 7s. But yeah, something about the idea of the illusion or projecting a scenario onto what is. But again, it's Neptune right now is squaring Mercury, so Mercury being the planet of our thoughts, our ideas, and communication, squaring, making an aggravated connection, an aggravated relationship to a planet like Neptune, which is kind of 7 of Cups-esque. It's very dreamy. It's not tangible. It's fluid. It's go with the flow, but it's also foggy. It's not precise. It lacks precision and clarity. There's a lot of that coming up in the tarot messages this week, but yeah, something with a Leo wants to be addressed there, and I'm sort of grasping at what it is, so I hope you guys can fill in the blanks there. All right, so where are we coming from? We're coming from a period of wait or delay. Also, just kind of looking at the harvest, looking at what you've reaped. You reap what you sow, looking at your crops. What is coming in? Did it defy your expectations in a good way, in a bad way? This is sort of getting an idea of, okay, do I keep proceeding with this or do I need to change up the mix? Do I need to change up the ingredients? You're definitely moving towards something very quickly. This could just be pause or delay in wanting to get somewhere or do something, but possibly through no fault of your own, whether it was travel restrictions or this or that. For a period it may have been like, oh, I just have to hunker down and just be where I'm at, but that changes. I'm literally hearing there's a lift on something. It's almost like this knight was behind the gate and the drawbridge comes up and now he can just go. Very quick, very swift moving, very agile. I think you could say sometimes impulsive. It is neither negative or positive per se, but we have to remember the Knight of Swords. Knights always bring change and movement into our life. With swords specifically, again, it's being very excited to move on our thought or this idea we have or communicate that thing we're dying to express or communicate. Even more so with the Mercury. This card represents planet Mercury, so as I just discussed, the planet that rules our communications and our thought. So a very important idea either, again, lands in your lap and makes you very happy. Someone is rushing to nab you up so that you work at their company, or maybe you're rushing to profess feelings for someone. Possibly I almost said earth sign, so we'll stick with it. Earth being Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. More than likely an air sign coming up here if this isn't you, Sagittarius, so a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Double down on the Gemini. You have two very strong Geminis for me as a reader here. Could also be Virgo, also ruled by Mercury. So there's waiting, and then there's waiting, and then it's off to the races. Then it's very quick. There's a very quick turnaround. So it could be if you've been putting out resumes or applications and you haven't gotten any bites back, if it's been crickets. It could be 1 week you start getting a lot of calls, or even if this is just one opportunity, it comes in very quickly. It's like you interview and the next day they're hiring you. Like it could be something that moves very quickly after a period of stagnancy. So for most of you, that's great news. I'm sure you're excited to hear that. So past, present, I would anticipate this message coming in again in the next week or so, in general reading. So this seems positive so far. And then sort of in your future position, what we're building upon, if this is your foundation. I do like this actually as a foundation card because it would make me nervous if we're building a foundation or a storyline, your narrative on a card that was very quick moving, but maybe doesn't always think things through in terms of its repercussions or futuristic type thinking. I always say, the Knight of Swords, he acts on his truth, her truth, but that's it. That's all that's important to him because he's immature, right? The Knight of Swords, he's like a teenager of the tarot deck, right? Whereas the King and Queen, it's more mature, it's more thought out, it's more responsible. They think about their words and, again, the repercussions of those actions. This guy's just like, oh, I have an idea, go. So if we were building a foundation on that, I would be a little bit like, have we really thought it through? The thing is, because it's coming up after this, it seems to me you guys have had a lot of time to think it through. Maybe you were offered a job, but you weren't sure it was right for you. Maybe you had to negotiate salary. Maybe it requires picking up and moving here, right? There's some delay, but for some of you, it was very much needed. It was to take a break and actually assess and think through the scenario. I would say this is coming to some conclusion where you actually feel ready to move forward. Or again, if it's out of your control and you're just waiting on divine timing, well, divine timing is coming in. You will get word or you will get that message that you've been waiting on. Especially if it is regarding your career. So in your future card, you have Queen of Wands. I love this. This is probably you, Sagittarius, if I had to guess. The Queen of Wands being that fire element, very strong Aries, Leo, Sagittarius connection here. Especially with anything that is more of a spiritual endeavor or career related. She's also my Queen of Travel. Of all the queens, I like to call her sort of my entertainment queen. She's very beautiful inside as well as out. Very charismatic. When she walks into a room, it turns heads, that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. Especially going along with this. Oh, you have a couple cards that are like, you are in your power and feeling pretty good about it. Even the colors of these cards, I mean. With the Knight of Swords, there's clouds kind of in the air, but he's sort of brushing them aside with his sword. So he's trying to get rid of any lack of clarity by moving on his truth. Again, any card has some positive and negatives, but the rest, aside from that one, the rest of these cards so far are really bright and beautiful, really strong colors. I like this a lot. So then let's talk about this card, because that's the one where I'm like, oop, okay, something's going on here. Anytime you have a 5 indicates, agents of change, chaos, very necessary cards, right? Because without that sort of upheaval, if you will, nothing will ever change, nothing will ever grow, and you are meant to grow and develop as a spiritual being. So the fact that a 5 is showing up says, okay, we got a little work to do, but we're in the thick of it. So it's not where the story ends. If things are disappointing and it feels like the world is crumbling, that is temporary. But I think 5s, in a sense, sort of encourage you to step up to the plate and take responsibility for something that may be lacking, an area of your life where maybe it got put on the back burner, or however you want to say it, the skeletons in your closet that finally need to be dealt with. Because that's really what's coming up in your, the way I read this, it's like past, present, future, what to release and what to embrace. So this is sort of coming up on what to release. This is what's to embrace. So do some of you need to release a Gemini or a Virgo? Do some of you need to release your desire to know the truth? When I know that sounds sort of contradictory because you're like, well, I deserve to know the truth. Of course I should know the truth. Yes, but are you trying to push an issue or force an issue where the universe is saying, don't worry about it. You're going to figure it out when you're meant to? Again, that Seven of Cups card that showed itself earlier, possibly regarding a Leo or another fire sign, I think this is more a message of, it's like I'm almost wanting to say don't poke the bear, but don't agitate something. It's kind of needing to go with the flow of the universe. If the universe is putting up obstacles or barriers and you're like, I'm coming through, come hell or high water, there may be an urge or a need to, I don't know, say that thing or ask someone a question. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But if you've been trying over and over again and you're not getting the answer you want, that's important, Sag. Or you're not getting the solution, it might be that there's a different solution in order and maybe you are not privy to that information yet. So absolutely say what you need to say so that you can have as much clarity about it as you desire or as you want. But again, if those sort of clouds up ahead are indicating lack of clarity that by no fault of your own, some of you need to embrace the fact that this communication is what you need to release because it's not here yet. It's not to say it won't come in. It will. She's the queen of communication. Wands can represent, again, communication, travel, spirituality, creativity, sexuality. All those really great things we love, right? But you may be trying to rush the timeline of it. Frequently with the Knight of Swords, there's if it's not impulsive, it's very driven, it's very ambitious, but at what cost? I think that's what you're being asked here. So if that's what you're being asked to release, I think it has to do with timeline or control issues of needing the answer right now. It's like you wanted the answer yesterday and you're not going to stop until you get it. Again, you have free will, you can do whatever you want, but sometimes it's like knowing when to stop, knowing when to maybe step back and let the universe sort of step in and orchestrate what needs to happen here, because something about this will absolutely weigh out in your favor. The single ladies card, anybody out there? So I don't know if you're waiting on word from a relationship, if you're waiting on maybe an earth sign and professing feelings, and I don't know if they're giving you the runaround or giving you the silent treatment or whatever this is. I wouldn't jump to worst case scenario. It could be that they really are just busy. And I only say that because your cards are so positive. You have a lot of nines here. Nines are about culminations and completions, and you have very positive ones at that too. So I don't necessarily think this is like a drag out ending of a relationship. But yeah, there's just something that's sort of, I'm wanting to say like ease up, like hold back just a little bit. You may be coming on too strong or too aggressive, just some messages. The only I always play devil's advocate because I know there's a lot of you out there and all these messages won't land the same for all of you. I'm a big proponent of if you're messaging somebody and they're not messaging you back, that more or less is a sign, generally speaking. Are there exceptions? Of course, there will always be exceptions. But whether I was reading tarot or whether, I was doing the whole psychology therapy thing, if you're texting and texting and texting and calling and calling and calling and that person isn't, reciprocating, that to me is a big red flag that maybe there is a message that you're not wanting to accept or see the truth of. But are you making it worse for yourself by continuing to pursue something that the universe is saying, oh, can we let that one go? Because maybe they are holding, or maybe the universe is wanting you to hold out for something much better, more in alignment with your wishes, rather than, again, aggravating sort of this conversation that just kind of goes in circles and you don't quite get to the bottom of it or what you actually desire. I hope I'm not confusing you, Sag, but so what we need to embrace. This is a card of hardship, typically financial hardship, but sometimes it has to do with feeling isolated or abandoned. And it might be related to this, investing all your energy in one person or one thing. It's possible that maybe you're meant to expand out of that one-on-one partnership or out of that relationship. If it's just not giving you anything in return, that's sort of what I'm wondering. The thing is, you have a very positive message coming through too, so maybe this is going to relate to you in different areas of your life. If you're waiting on both a job and a person, or a romantic prospect or something like that. I'm kind of wanting to clarify the Five of Pentacles here. Let's see. I'm just trying to see how these cards are interacting here. You have a lot of people, so that always makes it a little bit more tricky, but I'm here for it. Honestly, this could just be releasing lack mentality. The fact that it's coming up with this Knight of Swords of like, I need the answer and I need it now. Okay, you can't have the answer. Oh my God, my life is over. You know, I'm making fun of you. Yes, a little bit. You know, humor. It's good. Always be able to laugh at yourself. You of all people know that, Sag. This might be jumping to conclusions of kind of like woe is me and hardship, and I'm not at all trying to say that you haven't been through something difficult. Some of you certainly have, but I would say lack mentality, mental, swords, energy of jumping to worst case scenario, that's certainly not going to help you. And I would even offer this, even if you are going through a very difficult time, I know this is hard to hear, so I just acknowledge that, but no reason why you shouldn't lean into the power of positivity a little bit. You know, your mind really is, it's a miracle worker. What you think, what you believe is what you manifest. So if you truly believe that you're down and out and it's never going to get better, I mean, I don't got to tell you that, right? And again, not typically a message I would give to Sagittarius, but I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into your individual birth chart. What you need to embrace for a lot of you is that your money may be in fluctuation right now. Whether you're in between jobs or maybe some of you felt like you had to take kind of an in-betweener and maybe settle, sacrifice, blah, blah, blah. I'm hearing these words, but that's not exactly what I'm trying to say. Negotiate. Maybe you had to sacrifice exactly what you wanted just in the interim, right, for the time being in order to pay bills, right? Everybody's had to do that once in their life, I'm sure. It could be that I think because this is what the universe is wanting you to embrace. I think it's watch where your mind goes. Don't be afraid to drop your baggage, your mental baggage, your lack mentality, and change it up and manifest something greater. But I also think it's saying, because this is the trickiest card you have, of course the universe is wanting to bring it to your attention. So it's like, what can we do to fix this? Rather than run from the problem, right? Rather than deny that we have bigger fish to fry than our love life, I think the universe is saying, well, what is this? Because should probably be your focus right now, especially if it is financially related or something to do with your job. Let's throw one clarifier on that. Again, I want to underscore, this is leading you to something bigger and better than you think. And I think that's really good advice too, even if you're having just a really rough week. And okay, this makes a lot of sense now that I'm thinking about it. General readings for Sagittarius. The South Node is sitting in Sagittarius, so we're having that big lunar eclipse mid to end of this week. Anywhere the South Node sits, and it's sitting in the zodiac sign Sagittarius for everyone, no matter what your birth chart looks like. But for you guys, you may be feeling that all the more. Any solar eclipse, lunar eclipse is a very intense energy. And so, yeah, this week you may just be feeling like, what is going on? Everything is just upside down and backwards. And rather than run from it or act very harsh or aggressively without thinking, without too much assessment, I would just be careful that you're not blocking your blessings. Honestly, it's like kind of know when to take a rest. Listen to your body. If you're burning the candle at both ends, you know, your health needs to be a huge priority right now, especially with that South Node in Sagittarius. You need to release the timeline of when you desire things to come in. It's great to be very specific in your manifestations, but you need to be flexible to what the universe knows, because the universe knows what's best for you, right? So trust that you haven't been forgotten, have faith. But yeah, the need of like, I want this and I want it now, it's just not serving you this week, right? I don't know if that's an annoying message, but that's what I get from this. And then what you need to lean into is take better care of your health, your body. If you have plans to go on a trip with someone who aggravates your internal balance, your mind, body, and spirit, someone who doesn't treat you well, I think I'm just being asked to say, why? Why are you choosing to travel with that person? Why are you choosing to stay by the side of someone who there isn't a mutual respect or there isn't reciprocity, or someone who just kind of puts you through the ringer, whether this is a coworker, your best friend, a family member? Choose your soul group wisely. And I know sometimes we don't have the luxury of choosing who we get teamed up with on work projects, but I know for some of you, in this case, you do. It's like you have choice, you have agency, you have decision powers or decision making. So make wise choices this week about who you hang out with, because you are who you hang with, right? So if you're hanging out with people who are very just like, oh, woe is me, I'm always the victim, by nature you may absorb that, or the opposite, you may be so repellent towards it. Again, like either put a distance in it, but I just keep wanting to say like that illusion. Make sure you're seeing what's really there. I keep seeing that Seven of Cups. It's so funny. So, someone who treats you like someone who takes you for granted is coming through here too. It might be a Libra. It might be someone you're married to. Or it might be your boss. This is a card of contracts. Justice very much is connected to Libra, but it doesn't have to be that. The Judge. It could be if you're going through a troubled marriage, if there's a divorce case of any kind. If not, just contracts, whether it's marriage contract, soul contract, business contract. You may be breaking a contract and moving towards something new. You know, card number 1 is the Magician, the Master Manifester. He has all the tools on his table, right? Cups, Swords, Pentacles, Wands to manifest that new beginning. So maybe the time has come. Maybe you're starting fresh. And with that important decision of, am I ready to cut ties with this person, this job, this scenario? I actually think you raise your vibe. You ascend in your power. You ascend in your self-respect. That's huge with the Queen of Wands. All right, Sagittarius, that's what I got for you this week. I hope that helps some of you out there. Please remember to like the video, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you next Tuesday for more tarot. Bye, guys.